Hi everybody, welcome back to Critical Mass. We just went and saw the action-packed thriller Little Women.
Unfortunately.
We have thoughts. Okay, well first off, let's get it straight. It really isn't a movie aimed at us as an audience. Like a 57-year-old man, a tiny little man.
But it is aimed at an audience.
It is aimed at an audience, but if you watch that movie theater, and it was crowded last night when we went. We had to sit in the front row. That's how crowded it was.
There were like 6 seats left to choose from.
Yeah, on a Thursday night. So, Thursday night? Yeah, Thursday night. But here it is. If you looked at that entire audience, I think there were 7 guys in the whole theater.
Maybe.
So it was definitely aimed at the female audience.
Now, that being said,
Okay.
Dora the Explorer, aimed at children.
Yes.
Did you enjoy that movie?
Yes.
Could you relate to the things going on screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you could appreciate the movie even though it's not targeted toward you.
This is true.
Okay,
and you know what?
good.
There are plenty of movies that people would call, chick flicks or movies aimed at women that I thoroughly enjoy.
Did I not just defend the Hallmark Christmas movies?
He did.
Okay.
He's wrong, but he did.
They're not for me,
No.
but I can appreciate them for what they are.
All right.
Okay.
Now, so that being said then, what did you think about Little Women?
Okay, so first of all, Little Women is based on a book written by Louisa May Alcott in 1868.
Yeah.
Okay, so there have been many renditions done
Yes.
of this.
The last one was in 1994, I think?
Well, I don't know. Mark's wife said that she's seen multiple versions.
There are multiple versions.
Okay, so Little Women is an autobiographical or semi-autobiographical tale of Louisa May Alcott, of her family and the way she grew up and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Movie, not great. Okay, so I'm watching and I'm saying, okay, Little Women, there's girls, okay, family, poverty. They have a little theme about it's difficult for women to move ahead in the world back in the olden times.
1800s.
1800s, yeah, and I'm trying to figure out their personalities. Okay, so this one is an artist, and this one is a musician, and this one does this, and it goes along, and suddenly it says 7 years earlier. Oh, okay, so they're setting up some new things. Okay, so it goes back 7 years earlier and shows a before times.
That's right.
Okay,
With the same actresses, by the way.
and then I'm thinking, wait a second, something's different. I think we're back in the normal times. Or we could be in the future times and then back in the olden times again, because I don't know where we are in the entire timeline because it jumps back and forth and doesn't tell you where we are.
Yeah. Now, there is a subtle way, I did start to notice it during the film. There is a subtle way that you can tell if you're going back and forth.
Yeah, the mom.
No, when they go back into the past, it's bright and pastel colors. They lighten up the screen. When you come to the modern times, it's darker and drearier. Basically to let you know, because I'm not going to spoil it, but tragedy stuff happens later on. But that's the subtle way they did it. But you do get lost. At one point, I did look up and I went, did that just happen before, or is it happening now, kind of thing? The story literally jumps back and forth like this because there's 2 versions of Little Women. The first version that came out started from the beginning and worked its way up to the present time. The second version that came out in '69 started like the movie did at the and flashback. I don't think it really was hard to follow sometimes, and I don't find movies hard to follow at all, but this one jumped everywhere.
Sometimes you have these oldie time movies where they try to replicate the way of speaking or the accent or the vocabulary of the time, and this one was just so forced. I didn't believe these women were speaking the language with that vocabulary. It was like 5th graders doing a play. It was so forced and made me cringe.
Yeah, and it's not that they were acting poorly or anything
No,
like that.
great acting.
The acting was fine. But yeah, this movie didn't translate well to the screen for some reason. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched the other renditions of Little Women. I haven't. So I don't know if they did it back then. They're very critically acclaimed, the other versions. So I don't know if that was a failure on this film's part. But there are times in this movie I'm listening to people, they only have like 2 lines in the whole film. But I literally thought back to the time when I was in high school in drama, and that would be the quality of reading a line. It felt that bad, you know. It's just awkward. It was meant to be this big emotional moment, and the main actors certainly put that across. They did show emotion really well. But there's something missing. There was something missing in this story.
I don't know, like you said, I don't know if the other movies of Little Women were successfully done and received by the audience. But this one felt like it took a novel this big and said, well, there's no way we can put this into a 2-hour movie, but we're going to do it anyway. And this movie had to be about an hour and a half longer to get what it needed to do done. But after an hour, it felt like you've already been there for 3 hours. There were legitimately 4 times I thought, okay, well, this has got to be the end of the movie. And we weren't even halfway done the movie.
He literally kept saying, when's it going to end?
I couldn't believe it. Like, it just went on and on and on. Not because of the badness of the movie. It's just like, what are they going to make me sit through now?
Yeah. Now, I know nothing basically about this movie or the novel. The only thing I knew is that one of the sisters dies. Major plot point of the movie. But everything in this movie, not knowing the book and not knowing the movie, I still knew what was going to happen. I could predict everything that was happening on screen before it happened, which is weird.
Well, there was one thing I couldn't predict was going to happen.
Which girl?
No, there was this gentleman, Laurie. Okay? Well, Laurie is in love with this girl. And then it seems like he's kind of in love with this girl. And then back to the other girl. And then there's that girl. And then he's kind of saying really nice things to this girl. I had no idea who he was going after.
And they're all sisters.
Yeah. And because it was going back and forth in time, it was just a jumbled mess.
And you know what I found? There was not a single villain in this movie. There was no bad person in this film.
Well, there are people that kind of give off an air of
that's because they're not trying to be mean. They're snobby. That's just the way they were back then. They were materialistic, and that's how. But they weren't being mean. In fact, when they were saying something bad, it was to try and help the person. In their mind, they're helping the person, right?
I guess the villain it's like a girl against society or girl against family situation.
Yeah, but I mean, there was really even the publisher of the book seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, just doing his businessy thing.
And at no point was there, like, even the opening scene of the movie, he buys her first story. Gives her money. There was no conflict. There was no nothing. It was just done. It just, where's the animosity? Like, you got to give me something somewhere.
Some novels just can't be adapted to screen. Do you remember Battlefield Earth?
I did.
Great book. Great book. But it was a crappy film adaptation.
Yeah.
And this felt like, having not seen the others, this felt just as ridiculously done. And I would liken this to our review of Midway, where I wanted to care about what was happening to each of the girls, but because everything was just happening so quick and I didn't know where I was and I wasn't able to follow along on their individual stories, I just lost it.
Yeah. Now, cinematography, really good. Costume design, really good. You felt you were in that era. There's nothing wrong with the movie. There's no glaring plot points that are horrible or anything like that. The acting is fine. Did I enjoy the movie? Not particularly. Would I watch it again? No. Should you see it? If you're a fan of the book, maybe.
I think the only people who will appreciate this version of this movie are the people who love the book. And they already know the story, they know who the characters are, and they can follow along like that. Anybody else who has not seen or the other versions or read the book, stay away. Stay away. My wife would not like this. My mom would not like this. It was just a very difficult movie.
Yeah. It's like the show ended last night and it was just kind of silence in the theater.
There were like maybe 4 or 5 times where there were a chuckle.
Yeah, they had some humor in it that I did laugh a little bit, but it wasn't a haha. It was like a couple times, but it was just the look on a person's face or the saying that the disbelief in what he's saying or something like that. Now, what do you give it? Out of 10, what do you give this movie? It's hard, isn't it? Because there's nothing really bad about the movie other than I was kind of bored.
To be nice, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6. It's not, I did walk out of it going.
Put it this way, I wished that I had gone to see Cats.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But there you go. Little Women, not meant really for us, but we see a lot of movies, and I see a lot of, what people would call female movies that I like. I love Sandra Bullock movies, but there was just something missing.
Okay, you guys owe us one. We took this one for the team.
Yeah. Well, I hope you liked this review, or at least appreciate it. If you did, why not give it a thumbs up and maybe check out some of our other content right here.